Okay, let's start. So today we have Jari Saloma from Valo, our CEO.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. And we have Timo Pasonen, who's the Chief Salesforce Consultant from Black Belt
Good morning.
Consulting. Yes. So I was thinking before we start, let's get to know you guys first. So Timo, let's start from you. So you're the Chief Salesforce Consultant at Black Belt Consulting. Black Belt Consulting is doing so well nowadays in Finland. I see a lot of your posts as well on LinkedIn. So do you want to tell how you ended up here and your story with Black Belt and Salesforce?
Yes, definitely. Black Belt is a rather new company. It was established 2023, and actually the Salesforce practice there is even newer. It was established this year in April, so we became partners with Salesforce at that time. Going back in my history, how I ended up in Salesforce, I was working for Nokia for about 10 years. After that, I was thinking, what's my next career? And Salesforce seemed like a very kind of a prominent ecosystem at that time. It was far from where it's today, but at that time, there was the first Finnish boutiques like Fluido at that time established. And I joined Fluido 2013. And after that, I've been working with a couple of more companies, also including Accenture. And then when I heard about Black Belts and the business model that they are building their business on, I couldn't avoid joining the company. And then we discussed with Sameli Mäenpää, who is the CEO and founder, and we decided that why don't we try this with Salesforce, the same business model. And now I'm the leading consultant and getting the business model to the Salesforce ecosystem. And so far so good. We have been growing pretty well this year already and looking very good.
Yes, I have seen a couple of posts from your office and the place is really beautiful, at least on the photos.
We started from 14 square meters in Innovation House, where we were about 1 year, and now we have 300 square meters in the new office, so it feels like overwhelming.
Wow.
I think, Jari, you have something common with Timo. So you also started with Nokia, so
That's
it
right.
would be good to hear about you as well.
Yeah, thanks, Fatiqa. So Jari Saloma, CEO and co-founder of Valo AI. We're headquartered in San Francisco, and then R&D office here in Otaniemi, Espoo. And my story, kind of connecting to the Salesforce ecosystem, goes also to the Nokia days. I think, I guess, a lot of Finnish people in technology at the early side of the century worked at Nokia, and including me. I was in the Nokia E-Series teams, and then ended up working with some of the security business on the enterprise solutions division, and then moved into the US and worked there for quite time. I think I did 13 years at Nokia, and then I did a bunch of cybersecurity companies. So not deliberately, but somehow ended up owning security for the enterprise solutions area, and I was working a lot with like security solutions and helping Nokia penetrate both with services and the device market around the security requirements. And then after that, I worked for a number of security startups. FireEye, I think, was one of the most memorable ones that IPO'd, and it was very exciting to go through that kind of like very rapid growth period and on the virtualization side of things. And then I ended up at Salesforce around the same time I think you entered the ecosystem. So I think Salesforce was definitely a very large company at the time, I think all the way to maybe 8 billion or so, which is of course quite far from the current today's numbers in double-digit billions. And but they did not do really well in the large enterprise side of the house due to security requirements. And they had bought a company from Israel called Navajo Systems, and this CASB technology to monitor what users are doing and tokenizing and encrypting data in Salesforce became a prominent requirement. And then around that, we built this product called Salesforce Shield, which I became part of the kind of the founding team for the Shield, and then worked on products like event monitoring, provide log data. I built a product called Transaction Security, and also a free scan called Salesforce Security Health Check to give like information for admins how security properties are configured, and that was a lot of fun. And then I did also some big data stuff. I worked on field audit trail, field history tracking, big objects, which then eventually evolved into this like data cloud and a data strategy for big data and data volumes, which were big problems. And then after that, I left Salesforce for a similar job at ServiceNow for a few years, and helped ServiceNow tackle some of the security requirements in the market. And then 2023 we started Valo, and we've been kind of on the mission ever since to make Salesforce security configuration as easy as slicing bread, give it right information for the administrators and stakeholders, and give them all the insights they need to know how security is configured in their Salesforce.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Actually, you have a lot of experience with Salesforce, so let's dive into that. Well, how I see your Salesforce instance in your environment is basically it's not one app. There are so many other apps that are connecting to your Salesforce, and data is flowing both ways. So inbound and outbound from Salesforce and to Salesforce from these multiple apps. And it's a tangled mess. You can think of it as a spider web. It's very important to get visibility and clarity into that mess as well, so that you know what's happening, who are the users, who's using what, where is my data residing, where is it going, who has access to what, in order to secure your Salesforce as well. But then while we're talking about this big thing, how do you see that Salesforce has evolved in the years when you started until now from a consultant's perspective as well?
Yeah, I recognized many of the features that Jari was saying there, and being user of those hands-on. The kind of security aspect of Salesforce has been, to my experience, the kind of most, let's say, complex and also most demanding, and where there has been mostly the kind of oops type of mistakes, that something is maybe totally correctly on the sharing settings or on the profile, so somebody sees too much. So those are also the most kind of maybe dangerous leaks, if you want to say. Although the leaks are only inside the company because it's a one org only, but the features like security scan, those have already improved it a lot. So you can actually see from the report that, okay, this is not good, so I have to focus on there. And now that there's a new feature or new app like Valo or service like Valo, I think that takes it to the next level even. And obviously the consultants still have to be very alerted on the security side. So they have to, build the security in as it's today. So we have a big customer at the moment, and there's many consultants working there, but there's a security lead who is only focusing on the kind of security already from the building time. So this kind of a DevSecOps idea is already there, and it's getting there. So in a way, Valo can help, but also the consultants need to be very, very kind of focused on the security all the time, because that's where the trust comes, that, okay, everything is good, we have a trustful system.
Yes, so a similar but a different kind of question for you, Jari. So we know security is very important and it should be part of your building blocks. And you have worked a lot on Salesforce plus security. So how do you see the evolution of companies using Salesforce, and how are they dealing with this least privilege rule in their organizations?
Yeah, that's a good question, Fatiqa. Thank you. So I think, and a great answer from you as well. I think there's, of course, this evolution of capabilities. Salesforce is pushing out new release, 3 times a year. It's constantly, they have big R&D teams and they are improving the platform and coming up with new innovations. But ultimately, I think let me start by the main point is that Salesforce, as a Salesforce platform PM, I often said these words to many customers that Salesforce offers this shared security model. Meaning that Salesforce offers the tools, the technologies, the permissions, the profiles, the sharing rules, history tracking to the customer so that the customer can configure them in the way that they see fit for their business. Maybe they have very tight security requirements. Maybe they're a little bit loose on some areas. They want data to be seen by all the teams inside the company, or they want to strictly separate data from other different departments, so the American team does not see what European teams are doing, and vice versa. But that being said, I think then there's an art in that configuration, and unfortunately, I would say that maybe not everyone in the Salesforce ecosystem has been, through as many projects as maybe a Black Belts team has, and accumulated experience that you know what to do and how to do it, what is the best practice, and so that's kind of I think the one point. And then the second point is to monitor, I think also. So the first point is about capabilities, that what you as a consultant or an admin allow the organization to do, what users can do. And then the second thing I think is to monitor them, what they actually do. Are they using those capabilities? Are they using those features? Are they connecting more applications? And what is overall the permission model? And now when we think about this, maybe last point around this least privilege, that users should only see the information they need to see to do their job in order to avoid unwanted exposure or minimize security risk, and especially for those in regulated industries. It is especially important. It is actually required to know who viewed the record. You need to have the shield package or the event monitoring turned on if, for instance, a user is viewing the records, not editing the records, not making any changes, but you have classified information, and it is important then to know that did actually somebody go and view Yari's health record or viewed Yari's address. How to know that? Well, you need to look into the logs. And I think to be able to then design, I think a perfect solution, I think, is to being able then to ensure that security configuration is robust and it meets those business requirements, but it's also being monitored in order to see how the system is being used. And my last point maybe is that it's also now in this era we are connecting more applications into Salesforce than ever before. We are now also seeing this emerging wave of these digital workers, AgentForce, AI agents, connecting on our behalf, on behalf of the human user to perform tasks. It is even more important, I think, to design the security model in a robust way so that there is no data exposure outside from records and fields that the user should not see.
Yes. Designing your system securely is one thing, but I also think that once you have designed it perfectly, it doesn't mean that it's going to stay the same. Salesforce is evolving quite rapidly, and even as your business grows, you connect more apps there, you have more users, or you're offboarding some of your employees or users from Salesforce. This means there's a constant change happening in Salesforce. So yes, going through the logs and keeping an eye out is one way, but if you think about it from a human's perspective, it's also a lot of work to go through those logs. So it would be so helpful if you have a tool that's going through those logs for you. And if there are any suspicious activities, then you get an alert right away so that your environment is safe. So, and that's what we discussed, that Salesforce is constantly evolving. How do you see the tools out there helping our admins go over this scenario that Yari explained right now? So there are agents coming in, people are using AI tools, you are designing your system securely, but there's this constant need to have visibility of what's happening there.
Yeah. The kind of the interfaces are the most critical, of course. Like when there's a external system connecting and there's a data going out or data being processed outside. So that's typically one of the kind of critical points, and there you need to know that who is the connector and in what kind of a user scope does that interface is working or integration is working. So there the traffic needs to be monitored. And I remember myself looking at the IP addresses that, okay, who is the connector, who is connecting here and what's happening in this interface and So it takes time, and I think that's the time that can be saved when there's a tool that actually can tell you that, okay, this is a legit connection and a legit operation is happening here, nothing fishy. And if something raises kind of alerts, then there's a alert given to the admin person, and then he can or she can interfere and check that, okay, what's happening here. So in a way, I think there's a big opportunity there, and I know that your tools are in that. And the second part is the agentic processing of the data. That's a trust thing, because what you are doing it on the customer data, and in a way customer owns that data. So it needs to be trackable back that what does the agent process, what's the result, and how did it end up to that result. So in that sense, also that needs to be totally transparent. And if the customer asks that, why did you decide this type of thing? Why did you offer me this product? Then you have to be able to
prove it,
explain and prove that, okay, because we think that this is how the kind of processing decided that this would be good for you.
I have to ask quite quickly, I'm wondering, in this kind of a scenario where we talked about like the monitoring, or maybe something is leading to an unwanted consequence, why do you, like from a consultant's point of view, what do you think is the some of the root causes that results into that? So do you think some administrators are just lazy and they just like, let me give you read, write, access everything, take it, make it easy, or I have a app connection from another system, it can access all the files, because even though the requirement may not need it, maybe there's some future requirements and they just give very broad accesses. When I think Valo is looking into some of these accesses, we often realize that like, wow, they are very extensive, very broad, not so secure. There's a lot to change. So any thoughts from a consultant, like why some customers maybe end up in this overprivileged configuration that systems and humans do have more access than they need? Why do we have 100 admin profiles? It can be very dangerous.
I think it goes back to what I said before about this kind of access control and security. It's such a complex system, and you can get it you can make it working. You can get it working, as you said, giving a little bit too broad access control. And then you think that, okay, I'm done. It's good. It works. But actually, you are only halfway. You should think of from the critical point of view that, okay, is this needed? And should I make it more narrow? And well, typically it's about the consultant or the customer who has configured it. What's the experience on security? How much he has done it before? So in a way, experienced consultants or security specialists, they know, and they know the kind of handicaps there or the danger zones that, okay, do not give this interface too much access to the data because it doesn't need, it might be a security problem.
Yeah. So it's also about, so what Timo actually said, so not every user is an expert in security. And for all those users that are not an expert in security, you need to have a tool that makes you an expert. So gives you superpowers, helps you see those loopholes there. Jari, since you mentioned about overprivileged users, do you want to talk a little bit quickly about how Valo is helping there? How are we generating, or how are we just letting you know that you have overprivileged users and what you should do there?
Right. Yeah. So Valo is a new solution in the Salesforce App Exchange, and basically it connects to the customers, the Salesforce org's metadata. It looks through the metadata configuration around human users, app connections, integrations, and then also now AI agents. And we also analyze licenses, which then give the permission sets, what profiles users have. And outside the metadata, it also consumes log data. Whether or not you have Shield or not, we are able then to produce information what users are doing inside the platform. So you get a full suite of understanding of what permissions and access control a human user, being a salesperson or sales manager or customer service agent have, and then what do they actually exercise, what do they do? So you can identify the delta, and the tool automatically highlights dangerous permissions or things that may be overprivileged and have too many permissions that are not actually used to exercise. In the same method, actually, Valo is also able to produce recommendations on the licensing. So Salesforce has many license types. Sometimes some integration user licenses are better for automations, and platform licenses if you're only working on custom objects. And of course, there's different price points for these licenses. So customers can actually make some cost savings and optimize their license and their spend based on the usage. So we do both improve the security posture, but also at the same time help the customer move towards consumption-based billing, that you actually pay for what you use and you are using it in the most secure way.
Yes, you actually touched on a very good topic. So I want to hear your view on this, Timo. So how have you seen your customers go around the Salesforce license topic? So the cost that they're paying, the negotiations that you have to do with Salesforce, and then actually understanding, are your users actually using it? Are people adopting to the new processes or not? How are customers going around this problem?
About this kind of starting from the profile level, it's the same kind of problem, or let's say challenge that with other security, that I've seen orgs that have like tens or maybe even 100 profiles. So it's easy always to do a new profile and then put the permissions there. So you kind of avoid this issue that Jari was raising, that okay, who uses what. You just kind of, okay, let's make a custom profile for this and this small group, or even one person. Even that can be true. But then you actually just avoid to think through that, okay, what does this person really, or this group really needs to do, as Jari said. So, and if you have 100 profiles, and if you want to narrow it down to 5, for example, it's a huge task. If you take an experienced Salesforce consultant to do that, you're going to pay a lot of money as a consulting fee for that person. So any tool which can tell you that, okay, this person is using this and this is using this, then you can actually narrow down this profiles to the 5 or even less. Which is typically what is needed, not the 100 profiles. So that's the other thing is that what apps people use, or what do they need. There's I don't recall that there's so much help in that in Salesforce. It's typically based on how kind of how certain team is profiled, that okay, this is a sales team, they need the sales features, and they need this and this, and this is a service team, they need the service cloud, and so on and so on. And of course, Salesforce, they are very eager to sell the licenses and so on, but whether those teams really need cross licensing, that's a different thing. And yeah, I've seen quite many let's say workarounds on this. There's been data copying from object to object, and being able to show some data that requires a license. I don't think that's anymore the case today, but it has been. I know that there's been these kind of things done in the past. Even with some orgs, it has been that okay, you don't need to take Salesforce. They themselves have said that okay, you can just do this. Put the data there. You can see it. You don't need this license. So there's been many kinds of things in the history done and seen But I think what should be is a way to say that, okay, this team needs this license, and they use this and this app, and then you know what you are paying for, and then the profiles can be accordingly set up. So the clarity, that's I think what's needed, and what Valo can actually help there.
Yes.
If I may quickly ask on this one, like, since you have been in the ecosystem for so long, do you think there is now maybe some special pressure, due to economic reasons or just for other reasons, or has it always been there that Salesforce administrators, consultants need to optimize for cost? Do you think it's always been the case where human admins are always trying to see that, like, hey, how do I optimize? Salesforce is quite expensive. We are spending, it's our core business system. It's important, but we are spending a lot of money. And then there's a finance department always asking, hey, can we save a few euros or dollars here or there? Do you think that's always been the case? Or do you think now in 2025, there's some new things that have happened? It's more of a priority today?
Yeah, I've seen in the past some orgs that there's like a licenses lying around, nobody's using them, or features that have been just bought because it's nice to have them and nobody needs them. I don't have proof to this, but I think today nobody wants to pay anything more than they need, because, as you said, Salesforce is a rather expensive system. So this kind of license optimization is definitely a thing, because at the moment companies are not investing so much. We feel that in the consulting business at the moment we are struggling, but at least at Black Belts we are doing well in Salesforce side as well. But I don't think it's going to change, even if the kind of a business is getting let's say faster phase. I think it's going to stay there. That you want to invest on the things that you do need, you want to pay for those, and if Valo can basically tell you that, okay, you need these and these and these, I think that's awesome. That's then that helps the customer. It also helps us as consultants, so we can justify that, okay, you need to buy these licenses because you need them there, or this new team needs the licenses. That has been sometimes also the struggle, that can't you do something? Can't you do the magic of the consulting to avoid the license?
Yes. So little ad here. So if anybody you want to review your licenses, get in touch with Tony Black Belts, and they will use Valo tool to ensure you are only paying what you need.
Yes. We actually have very good stats on that. We have around 35,000 users connected with Valo, and out of those we have realized that almost 2,000 or a little bit over can use the platform license. And platform license is 1/3 the price of the Salesforce license. And a lot of our customers have actually saved money using this feature, reduce or negotiate a better license cost for your organization.
Yeah, I think optimization may be the right word, because it's so hard to get money back from Salesforce, but you can repurpose it. Salesforce always has new innovations, AgentForce, new technologies, Slack, Tableau. So to better understand which of these technologies a team, a department, the entire company actually needs to do their work, you actually have a big pool of solutions to better optimize, to pay what you actually consume.
Yes. And there's the Salesforce license, but as I said in the beginning, Salesforce is a connection of so many apps, and you have licenses for those apps as well. So it's very important for you to understand which of those apps are actually being used and which are not being used. And Valo gives you visibility into that information as well. So what are your most used apps? What are your least used apps in Salesforce context? So that's also important. So it saves you costs outside of the ecosystem as well. Would you like to say some few last words?
Yeah. So of course, we at Valo, we enjoy and love working with consultants. There's a lot of consultants in the Salesforce ecosystem, and of course, you are on the right, you have finger on the pulse with the customers, what their needs are and the trends. So I would like to ask maybe as a last question that like, what do you both think are some of the hot trends? Last year, AgentForce was launched. Now there's 3 editions of AgentForce. There's all kinds of machine learning. We all talk about this agentic AI. Is that what the Salesforce customers should put all of their minds into, or and what are maybe some of the prerequisites in order to do that, or are there some other topics that you're personally excited about in the announcements for and what are we anticipating for the Dreamforce this year? If you have any topics.
Yeah, looking at from the consultants' eyes, I think the interesting things are there's the AgentForce is there, the agentic AI is there. So in a way, it's not fully yet, I would say, like a breakthrough. So it's going to take time still, and the next years will show what kind of new customer solutions we will see, how customers will start using it. I don't think there's a kind of patented or one-fits-all type of thing that you put a certain type of agentic AI for one customer and then you do it for the same time for the other one. I think it needs to be kind of fit for that business and for that customer. The size of the customer matters, and what industry they are and how do they operate. So in a way, that makes it very interesting for us consultants, and we have to be more on the kind of business understanding side. That okay, there seems to be a very good optimization point for agentic AI. So we could maybe save some of your money or time here. The interesting, or let's say my personal interest, is that how is the kind of interaction with Salesforce system gonna evolve? Now that there's more and more, you can do more and more via Slack and the prompting, then and the agents are doing actions. So is that changing the way you interface with Salesforce? Typically, you have been there on the screens and typing data in. Now you can talk and you can actually prompt. So the CRM understands your natural language in a way. That's how I put it. So interesting to see how that is gonna change. And since data was mentioned, what are customers gonna do with this, and what products, what solutions they will actually choose for this data architecture? At the moment, there's a shortage of data architects and data specialists. So how are we going to get those people? Where are we going to find those people? We have been lucky at Black Belts to find those so far, but we need them so much more. So the industry has to. How do we scale the industry in a way? So these are not just Salesforce related, but it's more on the kind of big ecosystem related.
That's a great thought, like training, enablement, and I would also add that there is no security architect. There is no dedicated. I think I created some of the first event monitoring transaction security trailheads that were. There's a new way to train the community years ago, but when we look at the security certifications, there is no like Salesforce security certification, like, and I think we at Valo, we want to be that trusted partner when you as a consultant or as a customer looking for a partner who is an expert in Salesforce security, come to Valo, we will help you.
Yes. So for me, I think for Dreamforce, I think we will see, or at least I'm hoping that we will see a lot of changes for the Salesforce setup page. But apart from Dreamforce, I think in the ecosystem overall, when I'm talking to customers, I think security is now becoming more of a concern than it was before, especially with the scatter spider attacks that have happened recently. And it's on top of every customer's mind. So this is also the time when I see users are asking, how can we design better access controls in Salesforce? There is no way to do that unless you have a in-house security expert, or you have a good security person working on it. but that's also costly. And you want to enable your own in-house Salesforce team to build good access controls. And this is where we're helping our customers with Valo. So there are a lot of good access control features coming in Valo, which we're piloting with some of our customers as we speak. And I think that's where the Salesforce ecosystem is going. Better security and better access controls so that your data is secure, your customers' data is secure.
Can't wait to see what you and the product team are launching in Dreamforce around the access features. Really exciting.
Big launches coming up.
Great to hear. I'm interested to see those.
Yes. So thank you, Jari. Thank you, Timo. The conversation was really nice. And hopefully we have more of these in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you, Fatiqa. Pleasure meeting you, and thanks for this
Pleasure
talk.
meeting you. Thanks for inviting.
Yes.
Thank you.